What's up, everybody? So, I'm listening to Stephen Molyneux. He's talking about sexual market value in men and in women and what causes it. And he was talking about one of the things that he thinks that men have to do, or men, it's a lot of traditionalist stuff, but what I wanted to talk about was there's this hashtag going, masculinity so fragile, or fragile masculinity. If you were talking about toxic masculinity, and they apply it to any time a man does something bad. But that lets you know they're not working off logic or false logic, because it's an emotional reaction to say, oh, because a man did this, masculinity is toxic. It isn't. Like, it's not even subjective. Like, masculinity is logic. And I'm not talking about masculinity as in just being a man or maleness. Masculinity can be found in females. A lot of butch lesbians have masculinity. They've changed their whole lives to be that. Like, they focused on being more masculine, or it's a false masculinity, because if you're being, and then you get all in your emotions and you react off of it, that's still femininity. That's still a feminine mind. Hartburn was talking about this, the masculine and the feminine mind. And the masculine mind is all logic. It applies logic to everything. Every emotional reaction has to have logic behind it and in front of it. It's control. Logic is a box, and you put your emotions in it. You don't let your emotions get out of it, because as a man, the difference between masculinity and women masculinity is that if a man ever breaks out of that and lets his emotions get out of that masculine, or that logic box, that box of logic, consequences can be dire. He either gets severely injured, killed, or locked up somewhere. Like, you can't do that. That's not how shit works. That's not how shit works. Like, people want to talk about masculinity as it's a bad thing, but masculinity has done a lot. And you're not going to be able to point that out to people who are feminine minded, because they just see men, because when they hear masculinity, they still equate masculinity with maleness. There's a lot of males that have feminine minds. And I'm not even talking about gay men. I'm talking about men in general. And a lot of those dudes are in the ground or locked up. Especially if it's for a violent crime. You have to apply logic to stuff. And masculinity it's how you react to things. Like, if you have a short fuse and get mad about a bunch of stuff, that's a feminine mind, because you're running off emotion. You can't afford that as a man. You can't afford to run off emotion in a negative sense. Even if it's happiness. Not so much. As long as it's productive. But a lot of people look at masculinity, they look at all the shootings. Those aren't masculine men. Those are men who have feminine minds, because they went off emotion. I'm angry, so I'm gonna go kill a bunch of people, kill a bunch of innocent people. It's not like, hey, shit's going bad, I gotta do something to protect myself. No. It's, I'm gonna go shoot a bunch of innocent people because I'm mad. That's a very feminine mindset. I'm gonna attack somebody. I'm gonna do something out of anger, and I'm gonna justify to myself by me being upset. It's a very selfish thing. Because at the end, all it does is you don't see the ripple effects. Like, there's a difference between Dylan Roof and Dexter. Dexter had bouts of feminine mindedness, but for the most part, he applied logic to the shit he was doing. These are bad people. They needed to go. And that's one of the things with people follow feminism. Is like, dude, it's a bunch of illogical actions. Like the wage gap. How the fuck does that even make sense? How do you sound sane? Because just think about it in business. If I know I can pay a group of people 30 cents or 25 cents less, then I have to pay another group of people. I would never hire group B. I'd hire group A all damn day. Especially if it's not a job that requires physicality. Like if I have to, but it's not equal pay or wages, it's earnings. If we come into, but you, again, I'm finna make a logical argument to a bunch of illogical people. But masculinity isn't toxic. Masculinity is the opposite. But people, again, I'll say it again, tie masculinity to being males. There's a lot of masculine females out there. There's a lot of feminine men out there. And a lot of feminine-minded men out there. And I'm not just talking about gay ones. There's a lot of masculine females who were straight and a lot of feminine males who were straight. And I think people fail to realize that because it's just easy to demonize maleness. And then when you have this going on and just permeating through society, you have a lot of guys go, you know what, fuck this. If I'm gonna be as bad as they say I am, I'm just not gonna fuck with these people. I'm not gonna argue with them. I'm not gonna engage with them. I'm gonna ignore them and go on about my motherfucking day. And that's where you get mgtow. Peace.